In the ancient lands of Arcadia, where the mountains clawed at the clouds and the valleys cradled secrets, lay a cursed marsh known as Stymphalian. Its mists were said to hold more than just water. They were woven with despair and the stench of decay. This was the domain of the Stymphalian Birds, creatures born of myth and malice. They were a flock of monstrous fowls, their bodies the size of wolves, with feathers of burnished bronze that clanged like cymbals in the wind. Their beaks were sharpened steel, and their talons were curved blades, but their most terrifying feature was their insatiable hunger for human flesh. For years, they terrorized the local villages. Farmers found their livestock shredded, their crops trampled, and their children missing. The sound of their wings, a thunderous whirring that preceded their attacks, was a death knell. No one dared to venture near the marsh, and the once fertile lands around it became a desolate wasteland. The people prayed to the gods, but their pleas seemed to fall on deaf ears. Hope was a fragile thing, and it was quickly withering under the shadow of the bronze-feathered predators. One day, a young shepherd named Lycus, whose family had been victims of the birds, could no longer bear the fear. He was not a warrior or a hero, but his heart was filled with a burning desire for vengeance. He sought out the legendary hero Hercules, who was undertaking his 12 labors. He found him in a distant land, a man of immense strength and stoic resolve. Lycus told him of the Stymphalian birds, of their bronze feathers and their man-eating habits, and of the terror they inflicted upon his people. Hercules, ever the champion of humanity, agreed to help. He journeyed to Stymphalian with Lycus, and when they arrived, they were met with a scene of utter ruin. The air was heavy with the smell of blood and fear. Hercules knew that a direct confrontation would be foolish. The birds were too numerous and their feathers could deflect any arrow or spear. He needed a different approach. He consulted with Athena, the goddess of wisdom, who presented him with a pair of bronze clappers made by Hephaestus, the divine smith. The goddess told him to stand on a nearby mountain and use the clappers to create an unbearable noise. Hercules and Lycus climbed a large hill overlooking the marsh. The silence of the swamp was broken only by the chirping of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves. Hercules raised the bronze clappers and brought them together with all his might. The sound was deafening, a sharp, metallic clang that echoed across the valley. It was followed by another, and another, until the air vibrated with a continuous, jarring racket. The birds, startled by the noise, rose from the marsh in a panicked cloud. They shrieked and screeched, their wings beating the air with a force that created a powerful wind. They circled in a chaotic mass, their senses overwhelmed by the relentless din. Hercules, seizing the opportunity, drew his bow and began to shoot. His arrows, infused with the poison of the Hydra, found their mark with deadly accuracy. The birds fell from the sky, their bronze feathers clattering against the rocks. Lycus, inspired by the hero's courage, joined the fight. He used a slingshot, aiming for the birds' unarmored legs and heads. The battle raged for hours. The birds, blinded by panic and weakened by the poisoned arrows, began to flee. A few of them, the smarter and more cunning ones, managed to escape the valley, but the majority were either slain or driven away, never to return. When the last of the birds had vanished, the valley fell into an eerie silence. The air, once thick with fear, now felt clean and fresh. Lycus looked at the fallen birds, their metallic feathers, glinting in the sun, and a wave of relief washed over him. Hercules had fulfilled his labor, but he had done more than that. He had restored hope to a land that had forgotten what it felt like to be free. The story of Hercules and the Stymphalian birds became a legend, a testament to the fact that even the most formidable of monsters can be defeated, not just with strength, but with a clever mind and a little help from the gods. The people of Arcadia never forgot the hero who had saved them, and the marsh of Stymphalian, once a place of terror, slowly began to reclaim its life, its waters now mirroring a clear, peaceful sky.